I want to thank Alyx in a big way for stepping up to provide this presentation. When we learned just yesterday at noon that due to illness, Mercedes Peters would be unable to attend. However, we're very fortunate to have Alyx with us today because he's able to bring us up to date on several forestry-related topics in the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq, Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Alyx is the Senior Director with that department. Would you please help me welcome Alyx today?
Thanks, everybody. It won't be quite as entertaining as Mercedes. I've seen Mi'kmaq Way to Birds presentations many times, but I'll try to keep this pretty light and a good refresher. Go from there. Jokingly, I was talking to Bo, and I'd like to call myself a poor man's Bo, and many similar things growing up in Woodlot and Kennecott, mountain biking, and now renovating an old farmhouse in Great Village. So many of the same things. And didn't have time for a bio, but I've been with the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq for about 10 years now. Previously, more of an aquatics role. As I joked with a few folks here today. Did everything to avoid working back in the woods, but opportunity came up, and this is kind of where home felt for me. So, yeah, I just wanted to give a little breakdown of some of the work that the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq and other organizations here in Mi'kmaq are doing around forestry and other related projects. All right, so we'll do three main topics: a little brief history and some concepts about Mi'kmaq and some of the concepts that lead current forestry practices by the communities. A little bit about some community initiatives that are being done all throughout mainland and Unama'ki. A little bit about the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq and our work, as well as since Mi'kmaq Way to Bird couldn't be here, I'll just let them know as well. So the Mi'kmaq, the Mi'kmaq Way to Bird site actually has artifacts tracing back 13,000 years, and they are underway on getting the final plan to put in a new cultural center in the Bird, which will showcase artifacts and go through the full history of the Mi'kmaq people here, and past, future, and talking about present. So for centuries, the Mi'kmaq people moved throughout the land and have a great connection to the land here. And a lot of the work we do is instilling that knowledge with current practices. The Mi'kmaq language is verb-based and oriented in actions, relationships to the natural world. So all the words and phrases used are all connected to Mother Nature. And just one point I always like to make is, just like everybody else here, not all Mi'kmaq people are the same. This is taken from the treaty education here in Nova Scotia, but just that each community, each family is different, but they all have some values, and that we're all treaty people. So, as Don mentioned, we're here in Sabaganag, one of the regions of Mi'kmaq, which goes all the way from Gaspé to Unama'ki, which is Cape Breton, PEI, and different areas. So, Unama'ki, land of the fog, Pictou, lying in the water, an explosive place. So, if you see that part of Pictou, that's where there's coal deposits. And there's a couple of phrases here I can pronounce as well, but this is skin dressers territory, so that's where a lot of elk and other animals would have been skinned. Spagnac, wild potatoes, so the Shubenacadie River, that was named because that's where the ground nut is. as well as Guestbook, the last land up towards Quebec, and drainage area below there. So these are all found online, but great picture of the area. And then wanted to show where the Nova Scotia Mi'kmaq communities currently are. There's several other satellite communities associated with them, but you have Acadia, Air River, Annapolis Valley, Loosmap, Sabanganay, Millbrook, Killeen, Buckingay, Woodlot, Escazone, Member 2, Wapato, and Matapama. Those are 13 communities which represent Nova Scotia. And they were all part of the Wabanaki Confederacy, and new practices, also noting that the Acadian Forest, also now often referenced as the Wabanaki Forest. So the Mi'kmaq, Maliseet, and other nations all had formal agreements and lived and worked these lands. Two concepts that really lead a lot of the work that our organization and several other Mi'kmaq organizations do is Netiglim, put the pronunciation there, and this is really kind of conservation focused and encompasses Mi'kmaq sovereign law, and it's really a way of life. It's really taking for, making sure that there's enough for the next 7 generations. And really a lot of us as woodlot owners do every day, making sure that there's a woodlot and space for animals and everything else in our lands. Another concept which you may have heard of is Edowokamo, or two-eyed sea, and this kind of takes the concept of Western science, instilling that with Indigenous knowledge, and also local knowledge, as the woodlot owners here know. We've lived and worked on the land for so much time. You have something kind of instilled in you that you can speak to and kind of have a sense of how that land will work that can't be easily documented with science. So last year, Lacey from our team was here and spoke about some community initiatives, and just wanted to highlight the Mi'kmaq Forestry Initiative for those who may not be aware. And first, want to talk about what is Mi'kmaq forestry. It's traditional timber species, products, species that have cultural significance, like paper birch, wildlife trees, teepee poles, and craft wood. Non-timber forest products like mushrooms, but also medicines and materials used for crafts. Also, a big component is cultural experience. It's getting out on the land, it's having that connection. And also instilling education on land, and bringing community members back to lands that they didn't have access to for so long. It's also engaging on new practices like carbon and climate change mitigation, but also recognizing that communities still do modern forestry practices, use modern day economy, and are no different than everybody else in their forestry practices here in a sustainable way. So the Mi'kmaq Forestry Initiative, essentially using old bow water lands with the province, and the province water initiative develop and promote Mi'kmaq-led forestry with our 13 Mi'kmaq communities. It's governed by the Assembly of Nova Scotia Mi'kmaq Chiefs, which represent each Mi'kmaq community here in Nova Scotia. UINR, which is a sister organization to ourselves, and the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq. So it's steered by an advisory committee encompassing all organizations, and is in partnership with the Nova Scotia government, the government of Canada, and all 13 communities. So for those folks here, just want to highlight 2 of the large block areas. One is in St. Croix, 12,000 hectares that's being managed, and has been for the last 5 years, re-entering a new 5-year agreement. And another area is the Digby block, which just under 8,000 hectares. And then our sister organization, Renewables Institute Natural Resources, manages the eastern lands of past Anganish and Milford Cape Breton. So, some current and future project goals: community engagement, awareness, and building improvement, do forestry work practices, and engage and collect traditional knowledge in the areas. Community-led projects and businesses, having a longer-term agreement for funding, opportunities to work with other groups, data collection and research, especially with invasive species and other species at risk, business planning, partnerships, and expansion and diversification. And operations to date, we've been working on commercial thinning operations, single tree selection, and irregular shelter wood. Utilizing maturity in several areas, protecting those that are closer to old growth. Creating opportunity for multi-age diverse forests, especially since economic is not the first practice, so we have the ability to work on different practices and document them over time. Pre-commercial thinning, selecting for variety of species, and doing a lot of road building and upgrading to these lands that haven't been upgraded. And we just submitted a new 5-year plan to manage these areas moving forward. And just want to speak a little bit about the organization I work with, which is the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq, and Mi'kmaq Way Divert Cultural Center, which is still part of the CMM, that represents all 13 communities, and they soon will hopefully have their new office and cultural center built within the next few years in Divert near the industrial park. So, Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq, the CMM, represents all 8 communities in mainland, represented by our equal, and we're a tribal council, so form of government, and represent Annapolis Valley, Bear River, Bluescap, Hillbrook, Buckingay, Bristol Landing, Sabine, and Wassahoba, which was formerly Acadia First Nation. And we provide programs and services to those communities, and our mission is to proactively promote and assist Mi'kmaq communities' initiatives towards self-determination, enhancement of community. A lot of the work we do is creating programs and then packaging them so that communities can take them on moving forward, and build partnerships with other groups so that communities can take those initiatives on. And finally, I was joking with Don and some of our folks, since Mi'kmaq Way Divert wasn't here, so there's opportunities to win prints and other prizes as they work with other funders to get the last amount of money to start building this concept. And on the left is a picture of what the site will look like. There's already a Mi'kmaq Way Divert trail and archaeological sites, and this will be a long-term place to hold artifacts that are across the country and across the world. So, and I also encourage folks to check out their website. They have a lot of videos and education materials for children and adults. Mi'kmaq culture, past and present, and kind of updates on their upcoming work. So, hopefully that was a good wrap up. Apologies, this was the last minute, so threw a couple proposals and presentations together, but definitely open for questions if anyone has any.